Hello again everyone, this is Mr. Hoy. In this problem, we're going to factor by grouping, but there is one special element that may create confusion down the road that I want you to pay attention to. I have that starred here, I'll get to that in just a moment. So, we want to start factoring by grouping by looking at the first set of two terms here, and the second set of terms here. Let's start with the first set. 6x squared plus 14x. We can factor out a 2, and we can factor out an x, leaving us with 3x plus 7. Looking at the last two terms here, what makes this challenging is that I need you to consider this as a negative 15. So this is a negative 15. Anytime your lead coefficient, so of these last two terms, just ignoring those for a moment, the negative 15 is our lead coefficient. Anytime that's negative, I want you to ignore the kind of the normal rules of finding the biggest term, and I want you to go ahead and factor out that negative term regardless of what it is. So in this case, we're going to factor out a negative number from both of those terms. So if you looked at this initially and you said that's a 15 and that's a 35, I'll factor out a 5. I want you to factor out a negative 5 in this case. That will help us in terms of matching up our terms that will be in parentheses in a moment. So again, if the lead term, in this case we have a positive 6, we don't need to worry about it there. We have a negative 15 here. Anytime that's negative, you want to make sure to factor out the same number you would have factored out normally, except the negative version of it. So we factor out a negative 5, leaving us with a positive 3x now. And factoring out a negative 5 from a negative 35 will leave us with a positive 7. Again, pay attention to this last step here. If that's negative, factor out a negative, and then please be careful to match these two terms up. By this point in an assignment, a lot of students kind of look past the fact that they need to match those up. They might factor out a positive 5. If you factor out a positive 5, you would see a negative 3x minus 7 here. And if you saw that, you should realize that it's not the same as this term. You want to go back and you want to solve that based on that understanding. So now we're here, and the rest of the problem is very simple. We just have to take these two terms, the 3x plus 7, write that down as our factor, and take what remains, this 2x minus 5 right here, and write that as the other term. If you're not sure if you're getting the right answer, please take the time to multiply these back together. You will get back to where you started. But again, the purpose of this video is focusing specifically on the negative lead coefficients. Anytime you have one, you want to factor that term out.